All right. Welcome, guys, to another Graf-X Tech live stream. Hopefully, a bunch of you are joining now. I'm going to give a bit of a brief overview of what we're going to discuss today while trying to give a few minutes for everyone to join. So, starting off, I want to give you guys a bit of a background and insight into how I actually do my unboxings and things like that with new products. I'm going to show you how I set up my phone to do the top-down shot, things like that. All sorts of real cool behind-the-scenes info. I want to go over a few more leaks and things that came out about the iPhone 17 lineup, as I'm sure most of the people watching my channel are probably iPhone users, even though I'm actually not right now, but that's a whole nother thing. So yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun and some exciting things. I'm going to also briefly mention Microsoft's new quantum breakthrough, basically, for quantum computing. It's interesting. I think there's a lot of room for it to grow, and I'm excited to see where that is taken. But yeah, we're going to go through all that and more, hopefully. So at any point, please, guys, be in the chat saying hi, saying any kind of comment, interrupt me at any point along this journey. I want to hear from you very much. So, all right. So I'm just gonna quickly mention looks like we have a couple more people join us. So I think I'm gonna start with going through a unboxing of some products I was sent and show you guys how I set that up and what that actually looks like. So you guys can join me here on this camera a little bit behind the scenes of what I'm doing here. So yeah, let's jump into that. I'm gonna be doing a few of them, so I'll let you guys kind of join in as I'm unboxing several different ones here. So this company reached out to me. They wanted to sponsor a video, and I said yes. I looked into their products first, and they seemed decent quality, and I made it very clear to them that I was going to give my honest impressions no matter what. And you guys will be able to kind of see that firsthand. I'll be unboxing these and initial reactions on these products you'll see here. Hello, Garrett. Welcome. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. I've never really done a live while I've been unboxing something. And this isn't going to be a full unboxing video, but this is just going to be some B-roll that I can use in my full review of these products that I make. So there'll be a dedicated video to all of these products, as they're all from like the same company here. So it's a screen protector, a stylus, both for the iPad Pro, and a keyboard case for the iPad Pro, which this one looks kind of interesting. Looks like it's done in the style more of the Logitech Combo Touch. And here is a carrying case for an 11-inch size tablet here. So we're going to go through all these and do really quick unboxings for them. Starting with the stylus. And first, I'm going to give you guys a bit of an insight as to how I'm going to set up my phone here. So this is the S25 Ultra, and the reason I'm using it for the top-down shot is because it can shoot an 8K video. So for some context, my mount is way up here for the camera. And if I don't do it in 8K and I want to export the video in 4K, sometimes the quality can look a little iffy because I have to zoom in at least 2 times usually. And you guys have might even seen that on some of my videos. Sometimes the top-down shots turn out a little meh. So hopefully using an 8K video should make this a much smoother and better looking top-down shots and process here. So what I found is best is to just record onto an external drive, and the Samsung device recognizes it best if you plug in the device first and then open the camera app. So just note there some struggles I've had with sometimes getting SSDs to work properly with this S25 Ultra has been a little annoying. I had some problem with the iPhone too, but lately they've all been working pretty well, so maybe Apple fixed that in the software. Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you like the behind the scenes stuff. I'm hopefully going to try and do a little bit more of that every now and then, maybe show you guys how I edit the video, stuff like that, and just get to know my process a little bit more. If you're also a YouTuber trying to figure some of this stuff out, well, you can hopefully learn something from this video as well. But yeah, so I'm just going to launch the camera app here. I already have it in the Pro Video mode, which is a really nice way that Samsung allows you to have lots of control. If I can show you this to you guys better. There. Have lots of control. I have it in log right now, so I can get a lot of control over the colors and everything after the fact. So basically, it's almost like having your own dedicated Pro Video app, but it's all baked into the default camera app here for Samsung. So I do appreciate that about them. I do wish they gave some kind of like indicator that the external drive was connected and it was using it. Because one time I thought it was connected and working and it didn't record the external drive. Now, ever since I've been plugging in before launching the camera app, it's never had a problem, but I still wish it had like an indicator that's like, hey, I'm using the external drive, just so I have some peace of mind. But it should work, and obviously we'll monitor that after the fact if it didn't work. All right, so I'm just gonna mount this up top here and just kind of set the drive on the mounting arm somewhere and just hope it stays. So one moment here. All right, think I pretty much got it. Oop. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to press record. And this is a wide enough field of view that pretty much anything on this desk is going to be captured in that camera. So I don't have to worry about being super particular on where I'm setting this up, which is really nice to do. So yeah, just gives you, again, more flexibility, a little more peace of mind and stuff like that. So I'm going to unbox this guy here. Oh, you know what I should have brought? A knife. Yeah, that would have been smart. I'm going to do the unforgivable thing, which is to rip the box. But you know what? I don't have a knife on me. So it's very sad. So yeah, one of the key points is hopefully bring the right materials, like a knife. That was my bad. But yeah, especially for the main pulling the item out of the box, you really want to make sure you're centered and your hands are kind of out of the way. And then when you reveal it, it's a little bit nicer of a reveal. And you give a second to just look at the product in its packaging, maybe move some of the other packaging elements out of the way, and you see what's all included. So it looks like a USB-A to USB-C cable, and you kind of hold that up to the camera for a second, maybe even put it a little bit closer like that, put it off to the side. Looks like we got a spare tip. Looks like they basically use Apple Pencil tips, which is nice, easy to replace those. And here is the stylus, the Penoval stylus. So yeah, that's it right there. It looks very Apple Pencil-like. In fact, here's the Apple Pencil Pro. So virtually exactly the same shape and size, same general look. So at a glance, someone might think you're really using the real Apple Pencil if you spring for this one. And yeah, so that's really helpful. It does stay on the side of the iPad. Not quite as well as I would like to say it does. Yeah, the Apple Pencil definitely stays on better. but it will stay. I just don't feel like it's as satisfying of a snap and as secure of a snap as the Apple Pencil here. But yeah, I don't think it magnetically charges though, which is why it has the USB-C port on the side. But I'm not going to do a review of this right now. Well, this is very, I'm going too in depth. So yeah, but that's basically what I would do for the unboxing, is just give it some time, show it off a little bit there. And yeah, so there's nothing else in this box. I kind of give it a quick check, then throw the packaging either away or at least off to the side. For a product like this, I'm not going to hold on to the packaging. It's not worth it to me. It's just too much to try to keep every little accessory box. But for like a main product like the S25 Ultra, like the iPhone, like the iPad, even the Magic Keyboard case and the Apple Pencil, I kept all of those packaging. It's better for resale too if you have some of the packaging. Set that off to the side. So yeah, that's kind of the first one. So anyone who's just joining or not sure what's going on, I'm basically just have my top-down camera set up here, and I'm doing some unboxings of these products I was sent from a company, and you can see some of my very first impressions on them as well. And yeah, it's just to kind of give you guys an idea of how I would set this up, how I film this, a little bit of behind the scenes kind of content here. I'm actually going to wait on the screen protector and not do that one next. I'm going to do this iPad case, the keyboard case here. And thankfully, someone heard me and they got me something to cut these open. So thank you, my business partner, for rescuing me. All right. So yeah, there it is. Looks pretty nice. Interesting, interesting. I do feel like I'm already gonna not like the thickness quite as much as the Magic Keyboard. Definitely looks a little bit chunkier, but it's not terrible. If it's more protective, for some of you out there, that might just be even better. I know that's a big complaint a lot of people have with the Magic Keyboard, is that it's not very protective, and I understand that. I do wish it was more in some ways, but I do like the minimal nature of it as well. But yeah, it's also an expensive keyboard, you know, and I get why people are like, I don't want to spend that kind of money on it and then it to not even protect my iPad. I mean, that's very fair. So let's take a look on the inside here a little bit. QR code. So keys are all right. Don't know how I feel about this trackpad. If this is really only clicking like in the corners, it's feeling like, I don't know. We'll have to give that some time. I think even the ESR one, which I wasn't a huge fan of, was a little bit better than this, but I'm obviously trying it disconnected here, so I don't know for sure about that. Then I believe, yep, this is just magnetically attached as well, but it is a Bluetooth keyboard. So in theory, you could even have it where you disconnect this keyboard, set it up a little bit away from the iPad, because I believe this has a kickstand here, right? Oh, it's going from the top down. Interesting. So yeah, you got a kickstand set up there, and or maybe you put it up here and you can still type on it and use it as like a Bluetooth keyboard. So that's kind of cool too. I can see a use case for that. Yeah, and the keys, like I said, they're fine. Definitely not as good as the Magic Keyboard, but again, what really is? So They seem like they're a little bit smaller though than the Magic Keyboard keys. I don't know if you guys can see that, but yeah, that might be a little bit of a downside for me. But comfort of typing is similar. So yeah, interesting. I am excited to do a full review on these. They obviously are going to be priced less than Apple's first-party accessories. Otherwise, there's no point in even getting them. If you're already willing to spend the money on the first-party accessories, you're not going to care about these. They're not going to be better, but they could be a cheaper alternative and a more protective alternative. And this looks like it kind of is a competitor for the Combo Touch here. So better be cheaper than the Combo Touch because I don't think it beats the Combo Touch. I had to verify what the prices honestly are for all these things. That probably should have been something I did before I did any of this live, but hey, that's all right. You live and learn. So this is just wrapped in some plastic here. This could be nice for anyone looking to just have a carrying case size for their 11-inch device. All right. So it looks like it's got, yeah, nice retractable handle up top. Here, I'll let you guys see that too. There you go. So that's pretty cool. And then it's got a pouch here. Pretty decent sized pouch. And here's the inside. And that's pretty padded. It's got a spot for, looks like a stylus here. I wonder if it can fit their own pretty well. Oh yeah, that works really well. So I'd work with the Apple Pencil here too. And yeah, so some more pouches. Bigger pouch up top. Let's see if it fits the iPad with the Magic Keyboard on it. Yeah, that works pretty well. I will say, if you're just taking your 11-inch iPad, that works great for it. Yeah, I definitely think my actual review will be a little different than first impressions. First impressions can be all over the place for me, honestly. I can initially see something and be like, ugh. And then 3 days later, I'm like, you know what, that isn't so bad. Like, for example, the iPhone 17, which we'll get to a little bit later if you haven't seen any leaks about them yet. They look different, which is kind of cool. But the design choice, initially, I'm like, yuck. I was not a fan. I was kind of just like, why did they do that? But after kind of talking it through with some people and realizing, you know, hey, there's actually some benefits to what they're doing and hearing some more people talk about it, I'm like, you know what? Actually, the design is kind of growing on me and I don't really mind it at all. So things like that. I can be very... first impressions are like, oh, this is the worst thing. And then like, oh, actually, I can see the use of this. So we'll definitely be trying out this keyboard case. I know my first impressions wasn't like phenomenal, but I think it'll be very okay for anyone looking for a budget keyboard option. Same with this stylus. I did like a budget Apple Pencil alternative video before. That video actually did really, really well. So some of you might have seen that. And I'll let you guys know if this one is better than any of those other alternatives I found. It looks like it does have some native support in like Procreate and GoodNotes and stuff like that to take advantage of some extra features. So that is really helpful. Those are some pretty popular note-taking apps. And it still has the pixel perfect precision and tilt sensitivity like the Apple Pencil. So yeah, there's lots of good parts to it. Just want to make sure that this chunkier keyboard case fits just fine in here. yeah, that fits really well. So I don't really think I'm the target audience for these particular accessories because obviously I already have an Apple Pencil Pro. I already have a Magic Keyboard. Now this one, actually I might use. And same with the next one here. But for those couple accessories, they're more budget focused and there's nothing wrong with that. And again, for a lot of people, I think they could be really helpful. So here is the screen protector. So this is a reusable magnetic screen protector. So it just uses magnets and sticks on the side and the borders here. So there you go. Here's a clearer view of that. Yeah, so that's interesting. I've heard some people let me know that I should get that for my nanotexture iPad because I made a whole video on how basically you shouldn't get a screen protector for your nanotexture iPad Pro. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. Oh, that's not even taped. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. I think it was a good warning to anyone getting a nanotexture iPad that screen protectors don't work for it. Because basically, any kind of screen protector is ruining the anti-glare factor of the screen. It's just not as anti-glare as Apple's nanotexture. So if you're going to put a screen protector on it, just don't get nanotexture. But for this is a removable one. So for certain circumstances of just drawing on your iPad, you may want that textured feeling of the screen protector. But when you go back to going outdoors where you want to see that extra anti-reflectivity from nanotexture or things like that, well, then totally go for it. And you can just take it right off. So I can see the benefit of that. My one concern is just like, how often am I really going to want to be taking this on and off? Because you still kind of want to clean the screen before you put it on and do a pretty good job of lining it up. And it's just like, yeah, it's removable, but do I want to be removing it and placing it all the time? Great question, right? All things that we will be exploring and figuring out. So is this like a... Interesting. I wonder what this is on here. Oh, okay. So this is not a magnetic one. That was my misunderstanding. This is an adhesive, but it's only adhesive in the borders. So it is supposed to be removable and reusable, and you can stick it back onto this pad when you're not using it. But yeah, it's probably not the most reusable one. I think the magnetic ones, if you're wanting to take them on and off more, it's probably still a better way to go. But in a pinch, this works. But we'll see how well the texturing actually works on it, because I think that would be a bigger deal for some people of how well writing actually feels on it. I'm going into med school, and we'll do some light videography in H.265 4K. Is it worth it by refurbished M1? Okay, so M1 would probably handle 4K H.265 or HEVC footage, especially if you're saying it's light. I mean, light can be relative though, so do you know how long the videos are that you tend to make? Because basically the longer the video, the more complications, the more cuts you make, the more complications, the more effects you add, the more complications. So a refurbished M1 iPad Pro can probably do it. So around 20 minutes. I think you'll be fine with it. My only suggestion is maybe try to find a 1 terabyte refurbished one, as they will have the 16 gigabytes of RAM, because I think RAM might be your bottleneck there. The chip will probably handle it, but RAM will be good. The benefit of going with an M2 and higher is that they actually have the video encoders and decoders built into the chip, including HEVC. And that just accelerates the process a little bit more. So if you can find a refurbished M2, I'd probably say that would be even better for your scenario. And then obviously M4 is the best for it because those iPads are just nuts. But yeah, I think you'd be fine. I edited a video of mine or two on an M1 iPad Pro and it was fine. It didn't really affect it negatively. Just like anything, you don't need the latest and greatest to make it work. The latest and greatest makes it work even better, but you don't need that. And you can easily get away with an M1 or an M2, I think. But great question. Yeah, the M1 versus the M4 in depth comparison probably. Yeah, I think there even is a Final Cut Pro export test in that video, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I made that one. So that should also help gauge. Yeah, okay, there is one. So hopefully that gave you a pretty good idea as to the difference between them. But for the most part, you're not going to have much problem. I don't know if I did my videos in 4K back then, though. So that might be a difference that I have now, that I've been working more in 4K. And honestly, it's been a bit since I've used an M1 iPad Pro. I sold it pretty soon after making that video. So yeah, I've been so used to the ease of an M4 iPad Pro that I'm not sure how much worse an M1 would get. But overall, I can't imagine it not being able to do what you're wanting to do on it. It just won't do it quite as fast as an M2 or an M4. The M1 chip is still a very, very impressive chip. And in a lot of ways, iPadOS holds these chips back anyway, so you're going to be fine. A problem I did find with my M1 iPad Pro, though, is that it did seem to have two... wow, what are the words I'm looking for? Oh, it had a battery life problem a little bit. And that could have been because it was starting to get a little older. It's definitely a possibility. But I remember from the first time getting it as well, that it did not seem to be as efficient in battery life. And that was a bit of a downside for sure. Let's see if I can line this up. Don't mind me. Huh. There, my SSD. Good thing I'm done with the unboxing. Maybe I need to find a better way to secure that up there. This is the fun bit that you guys get to see me going live. It's just the random SSD swinging down from above. All right. Well, that was something. So here we go. Looks like we got it on pretty good. So this is the screen protector. As you can see, it does diffuse light a little bit like the nano texture, which all matte screen protectors will do. I recommend that to anyone who doesn't get a nano texture screen. Feel free to definitely get a matte screen protector. I think they are beneficial, but yeah, this is definitely not as good as nano texture. So yeah, I won't be leaving this on my iPad, but I will be testing it. So might as well test away. It seems to offer a pretty good feeling on the iPad. Yeah, I know. Laugh away at the falling SSD. You try figuring out how to get this thing on a mounting arm. So yeah, did a quick little test line writing with it. Seems pretty good. And it cuts out for the camera so it doesn't deteriorate the quality of that or anything, and one of the sensors that are over here. So very well fitting, really easy application process. If nothing else, even though it's not super removable friendly in my opinion, it makes it easier to apply. It's a little, you can be a little less paranoid because it doesn't really bubble up in the middle, and it still seems to stay pretty secure. So I have no complaints there. Yeah, so I appreciate them sending this over. And I hardly ever do any way to run Blackmagic Cam on mid-range Android phones. Great question. I don't have a mid-range Android phone right now, but it is actually something I'm looking into. There's a new phone from, I'm sure you've heard of the brand Nothing. They are releasing their Nothing 3A, which should be right around $400. And it's almost budget, a little bit closer to mid-range budget. But yeah, I think that might be the one I'll get if I get any more mid-range or budget Android phone, because it's supposed to be pretty impressive actually for the price. And I can definitely test things like Blackmagic Camera. I've been impressed with the default app on Samsung's camera here, and the Pro mode on it seems to work pretty well. But I can definitely do some Android testing in the Blackmagic Camera app. I think that would be good. Is that what you plan on filming your videos with, or is that just something you're looking into? Just curious there. But yeah, I think these look pretty nice. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I'll definitely look into that for you. I have no problems there doing that. Let's see. So what's interesting is this keyboard case has a spot for the pencil down here, obviously, but it also looks like it does have a cutout so it can go on top here, which honestly, that's not bad. I've never really been a huge fan of the whole big slot cutout for the Apple Pencil on top of the iPad. It's always bugged me a little bit. I never like how it looks. But with it down here, that might actually work a whole lot better. Hold on, I think I gotta put it in like this. Yeah. So yeah, putting it down here, and especially with their pencil, because you don't even really need to charge it up there anyway, that stores a little bit more cleanly, and you can get that all folded away. Yeah, that's not too shabby, I will say. And it's actually not terribly heavy. It's definitely still a bit chunkier than I would prefer, but it's not really that heavy. I don't think it's much heavier than the Magic Keyboard. So overall, a fine keyboard case. More on this later. I plan on filming the video likely today, but yeah. So yeah, I will definitely. I want an iPhone, but I've seen people talk about iPhone 15 and Apple Log. Yeah, Log is nice with the 15 Pro. Yep. It doesn't make things perfect though, and it doesn't mean you have to get Log either. I've recorded many of my videos without using Log. I've just started using it again now that the Samsung has it as well. But you kind of have to know what you're doing with color grading in order to properly utilize Log and make it superior than just regular SDR or HDR recording. And to be honest, I don't know that much about color grading. It's something I'm working on getting even better at. I'm sure you've seen my videos. It's not like they're professionally color graded, but I hope that they look appealing, and I want to get even better at that. So it's definitely something that you can look forward to. I don't think it's something you need to prioritize right from the get-go. But yeah, I can definitely make a video comparison between regular Log and H.265. So you can actually film Log in H.265. I believe Apple lets you do that. Now, I think the format that Samsung films it in is H.264 Log, and then Apple also has Apple Log ProRes. They used to lock it down to just the ProRes, but now they've allowed using the Final Cut camera app and stuff like that, they've allowed you to not have to record in ProRes and have those giant file sizes, and then still have log as an option, which is cool. So yeah, the worst part about recording and filming everything in H.265 and even H.264 is when you go to export, it takes longer than ProRes. Because the beauty of ProRes is it's more raw and it has more information. So when you go to when you go to export the video, it has a lot easier time just consolidating the information and putting it into a nice file. Where when it's already in a condensed file, it's basically having to unpack the information and then repackage it. So that's why ProRes is nice. And obviously that's an Apple thing. So iPhones can do that, Android phones. As far as I know, no Android phone can record in ProRes. But yeah, that would be nice as an option. Recently passed high school and make videography as a hobby. Yeah, that's awesome. Videography is really fun. It's kind of a hobby for me too. I mean, making videos is what I do professionally now, but making really nice videos and going out and filming other things is kind of a hobby still for me, and I want to learn to be even better at that. We've actually been hired to make some social media videos for a small company, a small business in our area. So that was a lot of fun, and learning the different kinds of filming that we can do. I mean, they have like a tree cutting business. So it was like figuring out all the lighting and trying to get good shots of the trees. We had some drone shots and stuff too. That was really interesting. So yeah, that I still consider that my hobby. Uh, mid-range phones is good for most time. I would agree with that. I think there's a lot you can do with just the mid-range phone, and yeah, if you have the money to spend, sure, an iPhone will look nice for a lot of things. iPhones don't record in 8K though, which is a big reason I have this S25 Ultra right now, is for that 8K video. So it's really just what you need, what you are looking for. If you're only going to be exporting in 1080p, then 4K gives you plenty of flexibility. But if you want to export in 4K, just know whatever you're shooting is kind of final. You know, you don't really want to crop in too much after the fact, or you'll degrade the quality. Yeah. If you're going to med school, I believe most of your money is going there. That sounds expensive. It hurts my wallet just thinking about it. So, but yeah, I believe that you don't have extra funds just lying around. I definitely don't. This channel is really fun to do, but I am not a huge YouTuber that's making a bunch of money here. So, yeah, I wish I could say I was, but yeah, I don't even know how I can afford any kind of phone. I mean, if this wasn't my job, I would not even have this phone. I wouldn't have probably the latest iPhone. I probably would have a couple-year-old iPhone as my only phone. That would have been it. But thankfully, companies have sent some stuff over, and YouTube ad revenue is okay. So it's not great, but it does something. So, but yeah, so that's kind of the status here. Hopefully those videos turned out well. But yeah, it looks like the SSD dislodged itself and actually got disconnected when it dropped, which I guess that makes sense. But hopefully everything still synced over just fine. I'll reconnect that and check it in a little bit here. But I am going to move on to showing you a couple of the tech news things I want to talk about, and then we'll open it up again to any. You check about typecase, Magic Keyboard, for iPad Pro. I don't. Is Typecase a company? I'm not familiar with Typecase Magic Keyboard. Maybe I can look that up and find out for you. Okay, it is a company. All right, let's just take a quick look. All right. I'm going to switch over to my screen recording here. All right. So this is a type case Magic Keyboard here. Looks like it's on sale for about $100 right now. So I've gotten a keyboard from, I think it's Clonova or something like that, that is very, very similar to this. Almost identical, in fact. So they probably have a similar manufacturer or something like that as well. And they're okay. Basically, if you get a third-party version of this, they are very okay, and they will give you 90% of the features of the actual Magic Keyboard. The one downside is you have to charge the keyboard separately. You don't get that smart connector. It just charges it for you. And basically, it's usually a little bit heavier, a little bit clunkier, and not quite as high of build quality materials. That's kind of the main thing. It can really range. I'd probably have to get this one in person to really know how durable it is. I don't know if I'll be able to do that right now. But yeah, I mean, I can certainly look into it a little bit further, but from what I can tell, it's probably going to be at least as durable as the Magic Keyboard. I think in some ways the Magic Keyboard is more durable, but it's definitely not very protective of the iPad. So yeah, I think this will be a little bit more protective. It also holds the Apple Pencil, looks like, a little bit more securely. And as you can see, the sides actually protrude out a little bit from the Magic Keyboard here. So they would hopefully keep it a bit more protected in a drop scenario. So yeah, I think it'll be okay. But again, it's any one that's not using the smart connector, in my opinion, is just not going to be quite as good and quite as fluid, and the trackpads are going to be not quite as good and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's just going to be a reality of that. The first party Magic Keyboard and then the Logitech Combo Touch that gets the first party technology is always going to be the better options. They're going to feel a little bit nicer, but does that mean they feel nicer for your bank account? Absolutely not. And I still say that this would be great. So I have considered making more Mac focused videos. I honestly just haven't made a lot of Mac videos in general. But I can definitely look into gaming on a Mac. I mean, I think there's ups and downs, mostly downs right now because there's just not enough support. But yeah, I definitely will consider that for sure. Feel free to keep commenting and asking questions. I definitely don't mind getting interrupted, but I'm going to quickly go over here. We're going to zoom in a little bit for you guys. This is something that Microsoft just announced almost a week ago now. And I thought it was really interesting. A friend pointed it out to me. Actually, he was one of the ones that went on the trip to CES with me this year, JC. So he sent me this, and yeah, it's pretty interesting. Here's the Apple Intelligence summary for us. So maybe it'll give us a good idea. So Microsoft unveiled I think it's Majorana, I think is how they pronounce it, something like that. The world's first quantum chip powered by a topological core architecture. This architecture utilizes topoconductors, a new type of material, enabling the creation of topological qubits, which are more stable and scalable than current alternatives. The company believes this breakthrough will enable the development of million-qubit quantum computers capable of solving complex industrial and societal problems. So, yeah. Yeah, this is going to be something else. Yeah, the RTX 5090 does cost like 2 kidneys, probably 3 kidneys. You probably need to get your friend's kidney too, if you want it. But yeah, I totally get you. Getting those big graphics cards and on the PCs and stuff, it is taxing on the bank account for sure. So yeah, I definitely don't mind looking into that. I have a feeling the Macs though that are going to do the best with gaming are going to be the ones that have the Max chips, because those have a lot more graphics cores and stuff like that, and more RAM usually, and all that helps with gaming. So unfortunately, you're probably going to have to spend a pretty penny to get a Max chip, or at least like an M2 Max or M3 Max, and in order to do really good and nice gaming. But maybe not. I'll try it with, I have an M2 Pro MacBook here. That's what I've been doing most of my video editing on currently. I used to do it a lot on the iPad, and now I do it some on the Mac as well here. So yeah, but that is definitely something I can look into and get back to you. But this is something that I thought was neat. There's a little announcement video that you can find on YouTube for this as well, but I figured I'd just go to the article and get some more in-depth info. And yeah, they're pretty excited about this. I don't know how soon something like this will actually be coming out to more mass markets, but they think that it will be integrated in their Azure servers soon. Yeah, I don't know. It's really interesting. Quantum tech is not something I hear about or talk about too often, so seeing some pretty big advancement in it is kind of exciting. I'm definitely here for it. All right. Then I also want to talk about, so we had a few more leaks for the iPhone 17s. Here's one of them. So these are supposedly CAD files that were for these new phones, and they just got leaked out. So pretty exciting, actually. I think these are looking cool, in fact, and I'm excited to see that they all look a little different, and that's kind of cool. I'm here for it. So yeah, here's the 17 Air that you've probably heard a lot about. It's the one that people talk about the most because it's like a new thing that they're doing. As you can see, so there was some debate on the size of it, but it's pretty close in size to the Pro Max. So it's going to be a pretty big phone, kind of like the Plus, but only a single camera, and it's going to be like ridiculously thin and have some other pros and cons. Supposedly, though, they're all going to have 120 hertz, not just the Pro screens, which that will be kind of huge because the baseline iPhone and the Plus or whatever have been very much resistant to get 120 hertz, and I will be happy to see that brought to them. Yeah, I honestly, when I first saw these new Pro designs, especially, I was like, what is this? Even the Air, I'm like, why this huge camera bar on the top? Like, I did not like it really, really that much either. But yeah, I know iPhone 16 users are going to be crying about this because the baselines are going to get 120 hertz, at least supposedly. That's what rumors are saying now. And at this point in the game, rumors are pretty accurate, especially this kind of a CAD leak. This is probably pretty accurate. There might be minor tweaks, but likely this is what we're getting for the iPhones. So the 17 baseline looks almost exactly like the 16. So I think its big selling point is just going to be the high refresh rate. And yeah, it's probably going to get maybe the 48 megapixel ultra wide too. I don't know. That's just a theory. But yeah, and then this one is going to have like a 48 megapixel main camera, I'm sure. And yeah, its big selling point is going to be thin, and you'll just look cool when you have it. That's going to be its big thing. And I thought these camera bar designs were really, really dumb, but it does make it sit a little bit more flat on a table, or at least rock less, not really sitting flat, which is going to be kind of nice. And what a lot of people are thinking is that they're going to utilize this space to make the internals pushed up into this camera bar a bit more, and then have a bigger battery or something like that on the inside. And yeah, that's kind of cool. So if they do it right, I can enjoy it. But the theory with this discolored portion here is that there's going to be aluminum or whatever metal material they're going to be using on the phone will wrap all the way around and be on this entire camera bump. And then these sections will be the glass sections, and that's the theory there. I don't know if that's going to be the case, because I know some people dispute that leak and say no, it's not going to be dual tone on the back. It's gonna be like all one thing. They're gonna have glass on the whole back, even on the camera bump. But it's just a really big camera bump for them to do all glass. I don't know. I think that there's a pretty good chance that because they're separating the colors here on the CAD files, there's a good chance that this is actually a different material than the camera bump and the sides here. So it could be aluminum or titanium all around that, and then glass here to still enable wireless charging and MagSafe. And I think Apple will color match it really well. Oh, there we go. Color match it really well, where it seems very fluid like this. Like this is another CAD file that leaked. So this one does not distinguish them. So came from the same source even. They're all from Majin Buu. But yeah, not sure which one is necessarily more recent or better. This seems like it's rendered a little bit more than this one does. So yeah, hard to say what that's all going to look like. But I hope to at least be getting one model from the 17 line when it comes out. That's the idea. At least it's kind of my job to just get that latest iPhone, it seems like. But at least this one will look a little bit different. And what a lot of people pointed out is that these camera bars kind of look like the dynamic island on the front, like when it's expanded. And I can kind of see that, but I don't know. It's an interesting design. It's kind of growing on me. And if they do have this whole camera bump made out of aluminum or some kind of metal, I do think that will make it a lot better, in my opinion. And it's much less fragile. Just a lot of strength benefits there. And just having a small section of glass in the back. Again, I think that would just really up the durability. Because right now, they have a lot of shattered glass, like shattered back glass problems. A lot of smartphones do. But yeah, that's kind of that. So I'm going to step away from that. Titanium could be. I've heard some people say that there's a rumor they're going back to aluminum on this model, which would be really interesting. I'm fine with that because titanium is not the best heat dissipator. It actually does not conduct heat that well. Or I think it holds in heat really well, is what it is, which means it's not great at getting rid of it. Aluminum's a lot better at that, and they already used aluminum on the internals, so it's okay that they moved to using it on the outside. But yeah, I've heard that. I don't know anything definitively. Obviously, all leaks are subject to change unless it actually comes out from Apple. It's not final. But yeah, like that is it's interesting. Yes, I have heard the 16E does not have MagSafe, and I talked about that in my last live stream actually, and it was very disappointing. I think that was a stupid move on Apple's part. MagSafe has become so integral in everything that we do. And every accessory I get from my iPhone, I'm like, it has to be MagSafe compatible, all that kind of stuff. It's just why it's more expensive, no MagSafe, no dynamic island. It's back to the notch again too. It just was not my favorite release. I don't really recommend the 16E for anyone. Yeah, for $600, not really worth it. If you can find it on a good deal, maybe, but I think you can find a refurbished 15 Pro for probably close to that. In fact, like, I'm just kind of curious, what does a refurbished 15 Pro go for? Why don't we just look at that right now together? See. Refurbished. So here I find one. Come on. All right, so here's a 15 Pro, fully unlocked, 128 gigs, just like the 16E, and it comes for $16.20, and you can even get it with a firm and do as low as $30 a month. I'm sorry, as long as this is a thing, the 16E makes 0 sense. This also gets all the Apple Intelligence features. They're also did make it very clear they're bringing visual intelligence to the 15 Pro lineup too, because that was a weird thing that they did. They showed that the 16E could access visual intelligence without actually having the camera control button. And so people were like, excuse me, are you going to bring that to the 15 Pros then? Because there should be no reason they can't handle it. And they did. They actually are bringing it to the 15 Pro lineup. And I think that's really smart on their part, because there's no reason that they shouldn't have had that. But yeah, so a restored, refurbished 15 Pro, fully unlocked, 128 gigs, $600. That's a deal right there. But yeah, it could be something like that. It could be like, yeah, the 16E is just meant for like, so they can make the 17s look even better. That is definitely a possibility. I can see them trying to do that in marketing and stuff. But I also think they feel that people buying a phone like that are just coming into the Apple store. They're buying the latest iPhone and they're like, what's the cheapest latest iPhone? They're like, here's this one. And it's like, it does basically everything the other ones do. It just has one less camera. And they're gonna be like, cool. And they're gonna take it. Because people coming from like an older SE or like another older iPhone might not even care that it only has one camera. They might not care at 60 hertz. But yeah, anyone who ever had like a cheaper Android phone is probably going to see how bad of a deal this is. Anyone who's into tech is going to say that too. So, because refurbished phones should have a replaced battery, a fresh battery, and all that kind of stuff. So the fact that this refurbished phone is $20 more and has basically just as powerful of a chip, like one generation less, but it actually has more graphics cores, so it's probably still better. It has same storage, ProMotion, 2 more cameras, same Apple Intelligence, Dynamic Island versus Notch. There's just way better brightness, actually. That's another thing. Better bezels, all that kind of stuff. This is the phone to get. This is actually a really good deal. I didn't even realize how nicely cheap the 15 Pro is. So yeah, I can recommend this to anyone. I cannot recommend the 16E to anyone. So yeah, I did want to bring up the 16E, so thanks for actually mentioning that, because some people have got it in hand now, and I actually saw MKBHD's video on it, and he basically said the same thing. He's like, the 15 Pro exists, and as long as that exists, like there's no good reason to have the 16E and for anyone really to buy it. And it just, he couldn't recommend it to anyone. Yeah, I believe it. The $300 Moto phone has 256 gigabytes with 8 gigs of RAM and 144 hertz. Yeah, I believe it. I don't get why Apple's so stingy with storage. That's another thing that's just kind of weird. They really like their expensive storage upgrades, but hey, in this case, you can get that 256 gigabyte one for only $20 more. So hey, that's not terrible. But yeah, so I don't get it. It's one of those things that annoys me about Apple. They make really good products, but they just kind of do annoying things. And not all companies do to a degree, but yeah, Apple definitely has their weird things that they do with pricing, and they definitely pay the premium for it just being an Apple branded thing. You have that premium, and you have to accept that if you want to get an Apple product. But iPads are great. I think they're not really even that overpriced for the most part. The Apple Pencil's a little overpriced, and the Magic Keyboard's a little overpriced, but the iPads themselves are pretty solid, and you can't go too wrong with them. which is why even if I have an Android phone, I probably will keep having Macs. I'll probably keep having iPads. And I don't think I'm ever going to not have at least an iPhone around to make videos on and to use as a camera and stuff like that, because I love their camera system for videos, even though they can't do 8K yet, which I really hope the 17 line fixes that problem. But all right, guys, that's can you check the Moto Edge 40 5G versus the new Nothing phone? Yes, I will definitely look into that for you. I'll be looking into many other different budget options, and I can do some comparisons on that. And maybe even the next live stream, we can go more in depth on some budget phones and looking at deals and stuff like that. I would not mind doing that at all. But as of right now, I got to get going. So thank you for commenting so much. I really appreciate your interaction. It's been nice to be able to interact with someone. And thanks for everyone watching. And please comment just like he was, and just fill the chat with everything you're saying. I love hearing from other people and getting different perspectives and all that kind of stuff. I do these weekly. So the next one is going to be literally the same time next week. So unless I miss the live stream for some reason, or like there's something that comes up, which hopefully I'll message you guys about or put some kind of post in. But it should be every week, Thursday, 11 a.m. Central Time. So that's the idea. So yeah, thanks guys for watching. Thank you for being here, and I'll be back next week. So see you guys later.